interview room. Muzzy checking in, the time's here, how you all doing? Alright, let's begin. Let's have a chat about the fact that I wanna interview the best fighters in the world, and that's that. Had a lot of guests from everywhere, all across the globe. Fighters tell me.
How are we, everyone? Mudzy here from Muay Thai Interviews again. My next guest, he's from Perth, but he's currently over in Thailand training at the Sitmonchai Gym. He recently, just a couple of weeks ago, fought on the MAX Weekly show, and he won by KO in the final 5 seconds of his fight. I'm joined by Ben Worsfold. How are you, buddy?
Hey man, how you going? Thanks for having me on the Muay Thai interviews, and yeah, I'm good, mate. I've just been just smashing training over here in Thailand, and just doing really well. And I've got Ponson as my main trainer, so I'm loving it, and yeah, everything's going well.
Nice, mate. Yeah, I've seen by the posts and the little videos, you're loving it over there. It's kind of hard not to. Like I went over there end of last year, and it was only meant to be for 1 week. And in my second day in, I was just like, "Oh, Abigail, have you got room? Can I stay for another week, or do I?" She's like, "No, you can stay." And so yeah, I totally get where you're coming from. It has that effect on people.
Yeah, you got to do the long haul. Like once you're here, it's like, nah, you got to stay longer.
Yeah, it's never long enough, mate.
That's it.
So, mate, tell us about your recent fight on the MAX Weekly show a couple of weeks ago. You fought a Chinese fella?
Yeah, so basically I got to Thailand and started training at Sitmonchai, and within about a couple of weeks, because I arrived here fit as well, so within a couple of weeks they knew like I was pretty much good to go. Pine was actually one of the guys that wanted me to come over in the first place, because I did a couple of PTs with him back in Perth, and we talked about coming to Thailand, and he was basically urging me along to come and kind of scouted me to come along. So when I got here, he was really keen to have me fight straight away. And then basically within a couple of weeks, he said like, "Oh, you want to fight?" And I was like, "Definitely." And he started talking to PA, who's the boss man here, and we started organising something. They basically said like, "Where do you want to fight, or do you have any preference?" I just said, I don't give a shit. Just get me a fight. Let's do it. And so we talked to PA and got me a fight on Max, and that was organised pretty quickly. And then I had no idea who I was fighting. I just went to the weigh-ins, and I had turns out I was fighting a Chinese guy. He had the same amount of fights as me, roughly the same amount of wins and losses as well, which is sweet. And then he was pretty solid, pretty good, and pretty tough. And at the weigh-ins, he was giving me a bit of a smirk and that, so I was like, thought it'd be good. And then fight day, it was 3 rounds, and I just felt great. Like round 1, I just started working the leg straight away. I started working my distance and keeping him at his reach, but while I was just working the leg, and Pine was just telling me in the corner, just keep doing what you're doing. Basically, he didn't really have any advice. And round 2, just picked up the pace. The leg started going in the second round, and then I started landing some body shots as well. He hit me with a couple of good shots, but I just felt really good in there. And normally with 3-round fights, I'm a bit of a slow starter, so I was interested to see how I would go. And we trained pretty hard for specifically 3-rounders as well. And so, round 2, I felt really good and started to really put it all together, and then that was the turning point. And towards the end of round 3, I was just walking him down basically, and just having my kind of fight with him. And in the last 20 seconds, I didn't even know it was near the end of the round. I was just in fight mode, and I just thought jump knee, and I just did it, and bang, that was it. Just took him out, and it was sweet.
Yeah, when you said you had the smirk at your weigh-in, I watched that fight, and you wiped it off his face pretty quickly, because the ref kept telling him to fucking come forward, stop walking back, mate, or I'm going to take a point off you. Yeah,
he got warned. I think two times he got proper warnings for going backwards a lot, because Max, the way it works, I didn't know this actually before the fight. Ponson told me on fight day. He said, "Max, crazy, you have to just go to war." He said, "You cannot go backwards. If you go backwards, you get a warning. Yeah. Even if you're fighting well on the back foot, you still cop a warning." So the way the show's set up, you just got to annihilate each other. So, which I guess works out in my favour anyway, because that's the type of fight that I preferred. So So yeah, we just went head to head, and he was on the back foot quite a lot. I realised that I was a lot stronger than him and a lot fitter as well, and I was putting my combinations together better. I think by the end of the first round, I'd already landed like 10 or 11 leg kicks. So I knew that I was accumulating damage as well. And then, yeah, the jumping knee in the third round was just the icing on the cake. It was just a sweet knockout. Even I was like, oh, shit. So it was one of those things that is like, sweet, you surprise yourself. So.
Yeah, and when you just said you weren't sure how you were going to start because you're usually a slow starter, do you prefer 5 or 3 round fights?
Now the more, well, actually I'm not sure now. So the way we train for Max was a lot different to how I normally train. I'm very I'll have a long training session. I do it like 10 ton of training in one session and stuff like that, and really drawn out training and do lots of rounds and lots of sparring and lots of clinching. And so we narrowed it down to a lot of explosive training. Payne and that knew exactly how to train me for it because these guys are often fighting on Max. Yeah. Raja and Lumpinee as well, but mostly Max because Max pays very well. And also, 3 rounds basically within a couple of weeks, you're good to go again. So these boys are always fighting like that. And they just train me the way they train like Willie and Hayden and stuff and Tia and all them for the fight. And, I thought I may start slowly because I normally always do. Like even when I fought back in Perth for 3 round fights, I've tried to train in that way, but I've still managed to start a bit slow. It's just how I've always been. And basically I just pulled the trigger straight away and felt really good. So I kind of surprised myself like that. But I do like the 5 rounds. It's a different fight. Whereas the 3 rounders are basically go, go, go. It's a sprint. But now that I've done it a few times now, these 3 round fights, I do enjoy it. But I do like the 5 round fights. I think there's a longer. There's more time to accumulate damage. There's more time to feel your opponent out and see what they're good and not good at, and whether they're strong or whether they're weak in areas, and whether you're strong or weak in areas as opposed to them as well. So I'm kind of in between right now. I'll fight whatever.
Awesome, bro. Yeah, it's sort of like 5 rounds is like an endurance, isn't it? See how they go and take them into deep waters and see if they can tread water or if they sink in the later rounds.
Exactly. Yeah. Which usually for my style as well is good with the 5 rounders because I like to. Usually I would start a little bit slow, but then I just pick up the pace and just pick it up and get the snowball effect. And I like to just accumulate damage and just go forward. And not a lot of guys can deal with that over 5 rounds. So generally a 5 rounder has worked well in my favour in that aspect. But yeah, I felt really good on Max and everything came together well. And the next one's a 5 round fight. So we'll see how we go for that.
Yep. We'll get to that. I've seen the training videos. You're looking sharp, especially your boxing is quite impressive. You've been training and working closely with the legendary Ponson. He seems to have taken you under his wing. What's it like training with him, and how has he improved your game?
Oh, man. So training under Ponson is that's really like a little mini dream come true for me because Ponson has been one of my idols and my favourite fighters since I've started. So it's been surreal, really. Like even when I did the PTs with him in Perth and he wanted me to come to Sitmonchai, I was like, oh, awesome, it's like if one of your favourite fighters telling you to come to his gym. It's really cool. And now when I got here, I wasn't sure who I was training with all the time. Like there's Crew Dam, there's Payne, there's Crew Jawab, there's Jimmy and Kongfire and all them. There's heaps of trainers, so I wasn't sure who I'd get off. And I did want to go with Payne a lot, but I wasn't sure if how it would work out, And I went with everyone a whole bunch of times. I have been here and there, but for the most part, Payne would always take me under his wing for every training session, which I started realising. And then he was like getting me ready for Max and stuff like that. And learning from him has been really awesome because he's teaching me his way and basically his style of fighting, and the way he's been training me is very similar to the way he used to train and for his style, and that's really all I wanted to do anyway. I'd always used to watch videos of him and Raymond Deckers and stuff, a couple of my favourite fighters, like Anna Watt, before fights. So now that I'm learning from him, learning his style, and he's training me, it's just surreal, and it's like it's trippy in a way, you know. It's awesome, and so it's worked out really well. Like I'm learning his way. He's teaching me his low kicks. He's teaching me like his power shots, how to land significant shots the way he does, and his kind of crazy in your face, like take your head off sort of style as well, which is really awesome. And him taking me under his wing has just been epic, you know, like it's awesome. Every training session I'm getting ready for pads or I'm getting ready and he's like, oh, Ben, you with me? And it's like, oh, sick, you know, every time. Yeah, it's good, man. And I'll be getting ready for training and PA's like, you with Ponson again tonight? I'm like, oh, yeah, you know, like it's just, it works out really well. Yeah. And when I'm sparring, you know, Pino's watching what I'm doing. When I'm clinching, Pino's watching what I'm doing. When I'm hitting bag, Pino's watching me. He's making sure that I'm not overtraining. He's making sure that I'm training hard. He's making sure I'm getting all my runs in, everything in that you need to do, all the extra work, all the extracurricular stuff as well, like strength conditioning, your sit-ups, core work. Just making sure I'm doing all of it. So yeah, it's been trippy in a way, you know. It's like your favourite fighter taking you under his wing and teaching you his way. So if I can take that on as best as I can and just make him proud, then that's I'm happy, you know.
That's all you want to do, eh? Just make your trainers proud. Like even if you lose a fight, you're just like, fuck, as long as they're happy with my performance, that's all I care about. That's
it, yeah. And like he talked to me before Max, and he said like, I think you're going to win anyway. He goes, I know you've got the goods. He said, but he basically said to me like, just fight good. He said, just fight your fight and fight good. And he said, and fight the way I've trained you to fight. And so he was sweet whether I won or lost. He just wanted me to fight well. Yeah. And having him working on the hands as well, like obviously everyone knows that he's a strong leg kicker and puncher, so his punches are insane. And learning hands from him as well and his boxing skills and the power shots from him and his combinations. He has some certain combinations that he would use all the time in his fights and setups for leg kicks and stuff like that. So learning all them from him has been awesome, and it's just really complementing my style anyway. And yeah, I feel like my hands have gotten a lot better, and especially the leg kicks and hands, definitely a whole lot better working with Pino. I feel a lot stronger than I ever have, and I feel a lot sharper than I ever have as well.
Here's a bit of trivia for you. Did you know before he come to Sitmonchai as a young fella, he was a clinch fighter?
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I never knew that.
Yeah, before he come to Sitmonchai. PA told me that one.
Oh, I never knew that. Yeah, because he's here and there. Like we'll be watching some of his old fights. He shows me fights, and he'll say like, "Oh, Pino, not like clinch," you know. And he's showing me this, and as he's doing a fight, he says like he can clinch. He says, "But I don't like it. I don't like it. I'd rather knock him out." And he's just talking about that, and that's a bit of a trip.
Yeah, he's a real character too, eh? Like, especially like you're trying to train hard and you're just sitting there cracking jokes.
Yeah. He's always mucking around. Yeah, like I think my second training session with him here, we'll just finished pads and you're mucking around, and all of a sudden you cop like a kick up the arse, and it's like, oh shit. Yeah, and then he runs over and he's like attacking the other trainers and joking around, and yeah, he's a character, man. Every training session is really funny with him, and when you're finding it hard, like when you've gone through a grueling session as well and you're exhausted, you know, he'll break it up with a bit of like funny shit, and he mucks around with you and gets you sort of joking around, and then pulls you away from that kind of grueling sort of serious mindset, and then put you straight back into it. But it's really good. Like, he's a character, man, and he makes every training session really funny and just jokes around and shit, and you know, cop a kick up. You get attacked every now and then randomly, and yeah, and you're doing pads, and all of a sudden it's just sparring session, and it's like, okay, you know.
and as Ponson, like, what are you going to do? Bash him? We can't.
Yeah. Let's cop it. Yeah.
Just cop it.
Yeah. Let's cop it. Yeah.
Now, you've been at Sitmonchai for a couple of months now, or at least, I think a couple of months, is it? Yeah, 2 months, 6 weeks?
I've been here since the 29th of the 1st December. 1st of September. So I've been here. Okay. I've been here like 6-7 weeks already.
6-7 weeks, yeah. And you're still going to be there for another couple of months.
Yeah.
What made you decide to train there? Like, I know that you said it was Ponson when you did your couple of PTs. Was it purely because of Ponson? Was there some other factors? And what are you hoping to get out of your time here at Sitmonchai?
Well, I've always wanted to come to Sitmonchai since I first started Thai boxing. So I've been to other gyms around Thailand and that, and I've enjoyed them, of course. But Pine has always been a fighter that I've watched, and that style as well. Like even since my first fight, I was always punching and leg kicking. I just kind of naturally, it's come natural to me. So I like that style. And following him for so long, I always wanted to come to Sitmonchai. I just didn't always eventuate. And so basically, I knew I wanted to come here at some point, and then when Pine wanted me to come, and then my friend Ben offered to sponsor the first month here, it was just like, holy shit, like, okay, this little dream is becoming a reality now as well. So it was really cool in that way. And I liked other gyms, of course, and other gyms around Thailand. I've learned good things, and the trainers have been awesome and stuff like that. But this is my style. This is my style. It's the way I fight. So coming here has always been a dream. And basically, yeah, as soon as my friend Ben offered to sponsor the first month and it all started going ahead, it was just like, holy shit, okay, this is a gym that I really wanted to go to always. And I think this is the best for my style as well. So I'd learn the most here. I'd adapt and become a lot sharper here as well. So yeah, and like what I want to take from it, I just want to become like the best fighter I can be. I just want my style to be as good as it can be, and I just want to. I know I've got the potential. I've always had that faith in myself to have the potential to reach new levels, and so I've always just wanted. I just want to unlock that, and I just wanted to basically be the best fighter I can be, and just this style, my style, and just make it the best. And I think being here at Sitmonchai is definitely already that's happening, and so I think by the end of the trip. I'll definitely be coming back and forth, but I think by the end of the trip, I'll definitely be on top of the game, on top of my game, and be the best fighter in that way.
You can see from the videos that your skills are definitely getting more sharper.
Thank you.
Now, you just mentioned that you have trained at a couple of other gyms in Thailand. Which gyms have you trained at, and can you give me just a quick rundown of them?
Yeah, so in 2008, I came to Bangkok with a few guys from my original gym, and we trained at Sang Morakot in Bangkok, and that was really cool because it was my first trip to Thailand. It was like an eye-opening experience, seeing what like real training's about. Seeing the way the Thais live at the gym, the way they train, even the living conditions and stuff for them. It was like, okay, I've got it really good, and you can see the way they train and the grueling training they go through is just insane. So that was really cool. That was like an eye-opener. So we trained at Sang Morakot in 2008, and I was 18, and we trained at WMC camp in Lamai as well, and that was really awesome as well because Matsua Tum and that were there. Hanarong was the head trainer, and that was really awesome. So I got to experience those two gyms. It was only a 3-4 week thing, but that was really cool. I got to experience all that, and then at another point in my career, I came back to Thailand and I came to Koh Samui and I came to Jun Muay Thai. Yeah. And that was really cool. That's a good gym. Chamuk Tong was there while I was there. I didn't get to train with him much. Probably a good thing because he would have annihilated me and he was clinching and just destroying everyone. So it was good to see and good to watch. And by this point, I was a little bit further along in my career and taking Muay Thai a lot more seriously as well. So I could really take on board all the things from training. So I went to Jun Muay Thai in Koh Samui. That was really good. I've trained at Pech Saman Gym in Pattaya, which is Youssef and Yassin Boganum's gym.
Yep.
It's a really good gym. Lots of Europeans and French and stuff like that. Some Thais, but awesome gym, very technical. Watching Youssef is just insane, and his brother Yassin, they're just ridiculously good. Their technique is flawless, and that gym was very strong on technique, so you learned a lot. The training was very hard, but in a good way, not overtraining. Wasn't stupid, you're not doing 5 million kicks to end every single session and just burning out. You're learning technique every time. And being there with some of the guys I was with was awesome too. I've trained at Kosin Muay Thai in Koh Phangan. I stayed there with Yasin and Malik Watson Smith when I went around on a little fight trip with them. We actually left Pesaman in Pattaya, and by this point I was still like, I couldn't fight at the highest level that Youssef could only get me fights in. He basically said to me, like, Yasin and they're going to go on a fight trip. And by this point, I'd befriended them as well. And, I was with my lad Farzad, and my lad stayed at Pechaman while we went on a little fight trip. And Yasin and that said, look, if you fight around Youssef's gym, you'll only be able to fight A-class opponents. And it's you know, you're not at that level yet. And I knew that as well. So I was like, sweet. So we went on a fight trip and we went around and just lived in Koh Phangan and Koh Samui and stuff and fought. So I went to Koh Sin Muay Thai with them. There was a couple of Thais there that were really good that had a couple hundred fights. So I learned from them. I learned from Yasin and Malik. I had like 4 fights alongside them boys. That was awesome. And after that is when I returned to Perth. I don't think I'd been in another gym. I think that's it. That's the only gyms in Thailand and Sitmonchai now.
Mate, I absolutely love watching Youssef and his brother Yasin. Yasin is one of those guys where you say, don't judge a book by its cover.
Oh, yeah, 100%, man, yeah. Oh, yeah. When he walked into the gym, I was like, who the hell is this dude, you know? And then Youssef greeted him as his brother, and I was like, holy shit, like, okay, if he's Youssef's brother, he must be good, because everyone knows Youssef is fucking amazing, and he's like one of the best foreigners in the world. His technique is just ridiculous. So I was really looking up to Youssef, and then I watched Yasin train, and it just blew my mind. Like, he got in there and he was just clinching and he was just annihilating everyone. Like, he's throwing Youssef around a bit. Youssef is throwing him around. Yasin is just dumping everyone left and right. And it was just like, holy shit, you know, like, just like you said, don't judge a book by its cover. And watching his fights, he's lethal, man. Like, he's very unsuspecting, but very lethal. And he was fighting really good heavyweights, really good guys. And he was just annihilating him. Like, he knocked out everyone that I watched him fight, and these guys were good. So it was insane learning from them too.
Yasin dictates what happens in his fights. If you watch him, if he wants to be nice and relaxed, the fight will be relaxed. If he wants to put it on someone, then the fight gets hectic. And, like, his kicks are so quick for a big fella, man.
I know, yeah, it's insane. Yeah, I would spar with him and think, I can outmove him for sure, like the first few sparring sessions. And then I quickly realised, like, I'm just going to get my ass handed to me every time. And, and like, you try and use your speed to your advantage and your size and outmove him and stuff, and it just doesn't work. His timing is so good, and his ability to cut the ring off and make the fight how he wants, or the sparring session how he wants, it's insane. Some of the guys that got in there with him, I could tell were underestimating him, and within a round or two, you know, they're cut, you know, they're bleeding, they've been on the floor like 5 times already. He just catches every kick, he dumps you in the clinch. It's crazy. Their clinch is one of their main things, him and Youssef, and I can see, because I knew that they grew up together around Thailand and fought for a very long time, and watching him fight was just like, holy shit, you know, it was just wild. It was wild.
Between the two brothers, they've had over like 300, almost 350 fights between them, I think.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, watching them fight is wild. Like, I love watching Youssef fight, and I love watching Yasin. It was cool to learn from them too. Like, I learned a lot from Yasin, and he helped get my mind state right for some fights as well, and really drilled some things into my mind that have stuck for the rest of my career. You know, like keeping your mind strong and believing in yourself and backing yourself, and way to dictate fights and stuff like that. And it was really cool, man, you know, like learning from him in the clinch. Although I got my ass whooped all the time, was just getting thrown left and right. It was good. You know, everything's a learning experience, and it was really good to learn from Yasin and Youssef. I didn't get to spend that much time with Youssef, unfortunately, but a lot with Yasin, which was awesome. And he's a really cool guy as well. So we lived together, which was cool. And training with him was awesome, and watching his fights was sick, because I just learned a lot.
You got to love Yasin's haircuts for fight days with his little thing on the top.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, he's always getting his shit done, and he's always dyeing his hair and he's trimming his hair in different ways. And me and Malik would take the piss out of him. But he's a character, man.
Actually, I don't think I've asked you this question. How did you find Muay Thai, and how old were you when you first started?
So I was about halfway through being 17 when I first started Muay Thai, and the way I found it was I'd grown up doing like martial arts and stuff like that throughout my career. Like I started with like Zendo Kai when I was a kid, which is like a combination of like karate and jiu-jitsu and stuff like that, which I enjoyed. But I more like the punching aspect and the jiu-jitsu aspect of that. So I was kind of like growing up with that, and then I started like changing from Zendo Kai into boxing, and I started learning boxing as I got a bit older. Not like training for fights, really nothing too serious. I just was practicing boxing, and I went to a boxing gym a few times and stuff like that. And then I started training as I got a bit older. I broke my ankle when I was like 12 or 13, and then after that I had a little recovery, and all that time off not doing anything really gave me the shit. So I got back into training and I started pursuing boxing, and I wanted to become a fighter by this point. And so I was training at a gym in Malaga doing boxing, and I was training there for about a year. I think roughly a year, and I started taking the boxing pretty seriously. And then I was like, I did that for a while. I didn't end up fighting, but I was training boxing for a while. And then, but I was missing all the kicks. I was missing all the knees, the kicks and stuff like that. And I was 17, and I started watching, obviously like on YouTube, and I watched a fight of Raymond Deckers on YouTube, and then I watched in the same space of a couple of days. I watched Raymond Deckers, I watched Anuwat, and I watched Ponson.
Yep.
And I just was mind blown by what I was watching, and I started just searching Muay Thai constantly, and I was just looking up Thai boxing, Muay Thai, just kickboxing, and I liked kickboxing. I'd done a little bit of kickboxing as well before this, but I hadn't known what Muay Thai was. And when I watched the elbows and all that, and the kind of brutality of it, and the blood and the clinching as well, and all just the way they fight in Thailand, and watching like Raymond Deckers, Ponson, Anuwat, those kind of guys, it just blew my mind. And that was it. Within days, I had a friend that Kane, who was doing Muay Thai, and I talked to him. I made the change straight away. I stopped boxing and I went to Muay Thai, and I started training, and basically that was it. I was hooked. As soon as I started watching it, I was hooked, and I just had to get to a gym, and I got to a gym, and that was it.
Well, that explains it, because I was going to ask if you've had any previous boxing experience, because I would say that your hands are your best weapons in comes to Muay Thai. So in saying that, well, I think your hands are your best weapons anyway. That's only from what I've observed. What do you think is your, I won't say least best, but if you could work on one other weapon to strengthen your game, what would it be?
I think you can never work your clinch enough. I think clinch is one of the main things in Muay Thai that can make the difference in a fight, and especially like you might think you're strong, and you might think you're good in the clinch, and you might be able to throw guys around at your gym and stuff like that. But then you come to Thailand and you clinch with some of these guys, and it's just the way they feel you out and move, and the way they dump you in a second is just insane. Like I was just clinching the other night with Mon, and Mon's like 63 kilos, 62 kilos, and I'm like 70 right now, 69, and we're having a little competition because I got a couple sweeps on him, and I started being cocky about it, and he ended up, I got 2 to his 10, and it was just ridiculous within like 40 minutes. And I was really trying my best, man, and like at this point, like I'm a decent clincher, and you just get dumped on your ass. And so these guys here in Thailand, their clinch is so good that it makes you realise, even if you are a good clincher, and even if you are strong, like I think clinch is one of the main things you can never stop working. And I think if anything, definitely the clinch. So yeah, basically it's always a learning curve with that. No matter what, you can always work the clinch. You can always get better in the clinch.
Yeah, speaking of the clinch, was it you that posted up a video, or someone posted up a video at Sitmonchai of Kongfa clinching some dude, and Kongfa had his hands behind his back?
Oh yeah, I've seen the video. I didn't post that, but I've seen the video. Yeah,
and he had his hands behind his back, and then he ends up just like moving, and the guy fell over. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, man. I've watched him clinch a lot now. Actually, Kongfa is insanely good, and the way they can feel you out. I mean, they've done it since they're like 4 or 5 years old, so it's different for them. But the way they move, and the way they know the bodily movement, and the way they can predict your movement as well. Like they're 100 steps ahead of you in the clinch. And yeah, Kongfa, that video of Kongfa, I think that probably went viral. It's insane. Just I've seen him do it a couple of times actually now in sparring and in clinching, where he's clinched with guys bang on the floor, and he's put one arm out and he's clinching with a couple of guys here and bang dumps them, and then he's mucking around the other night. He's got like a injured foot at the moment, and he's just whooping everyone's ass, and he's sparring with him, and one of the dudes said like, you're going to be all right to spar. He's all sweet, he dumps you. It's insane. It's just so good. And even like your little Mon and that, Mon's like, 60 kilos, and puts me on my ass like 10 times in a row. It's just ridiculous. Yeah. Wild, man.
Yeah, man, it is. And just before you came out to Thailand, you're at the WA Thai Boxing Centre, training under Peter Boyd. How long were you there for? Because prior to that, I believe you used to train at Olsen Muay Thai Factory under Ollie Olsen alongside your good friend Malad.
Yeah. So I was under Oliver for a number of years. I think when I was 19. Well, either way, like I had 4 fights under Peter originally, and then I left his gym. And I was 18 years old, so I was out being a dick, partying and hanging out with my friends, and I was working, and I was just doing this and doing that, and just living life as an 18-year-old little, think you know everything, and everything's a party, and you think you've got, you think you've got 100 years ahead of you. So I was out partying and enjoying life and getting up to mischief. Then I ended up getting back into Muay Thai and really dedicating to it, and I went under Oliver, and Oliver really took me under his wing, dealt with me, still being a bit of a knob on that, but took me under his wing and really helped fix me up as a man and a person, and put me on the straight and narrow. I had a handful of fights under Oliver, and really in that time period as well, I really started to realise that I really loved Muay Thai, and that was it. And Muay Thai was saving my life and saving me from a bad path, stopping me from hanging out with certain people that were just not good news. It's really, and I started to realise that Muay Thai is it was a good cure for all the shit that I was going through, so I loved it. And so under Oliver, I learned to love Muay Thai, and I took it very seriously, and I knew that I wanted to become a professional fighter, and that was it. So under Oliver was awesome. And then I was training alongside with Malad as well, who's one of my best friends, and at the time, we were training together all the time. So Malad really showed me, and he's high level, he's A-class high level, he's one of the top guys in Australia. So learning from him and seeing the way he trains and the way he fights was very eye-opening, and he ingrained his kind of hard work ethic into my mind. And so I tried to keep up with Malad as best as I could, but the dude's a fucking wild animal, training with him. He's a beast, man. Malad would train like a savage. So I tried to keep up as best as I could, but I learned a lot from Malad, and I learned, mental strength. I learned how to make my body strong. I learned all the training that makes a good fighter. I learned how to train like the Thais and stuff like that, which was awesome. Eventually, me and Malad, this is when we went to Jun Muay Thai, went to Koh Samui and that, and I fought for Oliver and that over there. And then over a time period, we ended up leaving Oliver, and I left Olsen Muay Thai, and I ended up back under Peter. And I was under Peter I think I was back under Peter for a couple of years, I think 2.5 years, maybe 3 years. And now here I am, so.
Yep. No worries, mate. And because just when you were at WA Thai Boxing Centre under Pete, he runs his own promotion called Ignition, where you were a regular on his show. And last year you won the 65 kilogram MTA Ignition Pro belt. Give us a rundown of that fight and what it meant to you to accomplish that.
Oh, sweet. So last December I fought Josh Suramach for that Ignition Pro belt. That was a big fight because Josh is a really good fighter. He's had more fights than me, I believe, and I knew he was a strong kicker. I found out during the fight as well. But yeah, he was very good, and that turned out that was a good test, and I enjoyed that fight because I felt really sharp. I felt really on point, and from the get-go, I was learning more of a. Throughout my career, I've been very forward, in your face, more crazy. Under Peter and that I learned, and Malad I learned to sort of a lot more of a technical style and still a brawler, but a technical brawler. And I learned to be more patient and not so fucking wild. And
like controlled aggression.
Yeah, control aggression. Yeah, instead of just coming out of the gate trying to take your head off, I learned to control it a lot better, be more technical, more patient, land the shots in a more calculated manner. And I was also watching a lot of Liam Harrison as well. He's another one of my favourite fighters now. So I was trying to emulate his style a lot as well. So when I fought Josh, I was thinking in that kind of along those lines, and so I fought like that. And as I was fighting Josh I felt very controlled, very calculated, and I was working the leg and the body and everything early, but I really was working the leg. Anytime Josh would do something, I would counter it with a leg kick, and I was finding a home for it very well. And by the second round, I knew I was accumulating damage, and then in the third round, I knew his leg was hurt. I knew he was frustrated as well, and I started landing a couple of really nice body shots. And in the third, he come in for a couple hard kicks, and I knew the turning point was when I took a kick and chopped the leg, and I could see that it was a leg kick that it hurt. And then he stepped back, and I landed a nice body shot. And as he sunk, I stepped in with an elbow, which managed to get the KO. So that was awesome. You know, I won a belt. That was my second belt, and that was it was wicked. You know, any fighter in their career just wants something to look back on, and for me, I've always wanted belts. I want more and more belts. More, you know, the more I can get, the better. So an Ignition belt was amazing. Really, it was a good achievement. I was so happy. I was over the moon about it. And a good win over a strong opponent was just even better. You know, not fighting some chump for it. It was awesome. So I had a good test. I had a good fight, and a good belt, and that was it. So it was awesome.
Yeah, because you've also got another belt or two, don't you? Tell us about that.
I have a WKA 63.5 state title, and I fought Sugar for that belt. And basically, first and second round, I was having a bit of trouble with the range because Sugar's very long, and deceptively long as well. He's got long legs, and me and him get along really well now. It's cool, you know. But he's a good fighter, and so I was finding it a little bit difficult and a little bit awkward with him the first round or two. I couldn't land my headshots, couldn't land my punches where I wanted to, so I started working the legs a lot more. And then round 3, 4, 5, I just kind of switched back to my original sort of Warpath kind of style, and I just turned into an elbow war, and I just started slinging elbows. And then that was it. 3, 4, 5, it was a complete elbow war. I landed like 3, 4 cuts. It was sweet. We both just smashed each other up basically, and I landed like a shitload of elbows between 3 and 5, and then I ended up walking away with the belt. And that was my first title, so that was one of my biggest achievements and my most important. And it was also a turning point when I realized, okay, I can make it. You know, I can do this, because when you win a title, it gives you that what's the word, that
confidence. Yeah,
the confidence, and also like okay, I'm doing something with this. I'm achieving something with this now. I'm not just fighting. I'm getting somewhere. You know, I've made a milestone. I've reached a milestone. I've got a belt. So for me, it was amazing. First belt, I was more than happy. I was over the moon. I didn't take it off for days. I slept with it. It was insane. Yeah. So that was amazing. That was really awesome. And probably one of my other big achievements would have been the Mortal Kombat 4-man tournament that I won, Alan Pond's Mortal Kombat show. I fought Jerry and I fought Ben Khan in one night, and that was a good fight. Both were really good fights, and they were really good fights and really good tests. So I had really good wars with both guys, and basically to win a 4-man tournament with a couple of knockouts would have been sweet, but to win a 4-man tournament after 2 good wars in one night was awesome. So it was a good test of the spirit, and I realised, I'm definitely getting somewhere in this sport and I can make it, and it gave me the confidence to really say to myself, I can take my career to the next level. So it was amazing.
And speaking of your achievements and accomplishments and whatnot, a few months ago I looked up the Aussie Muay Thai rankings, and you were in there. I think you're like maybe ranked top 5 or 6 or something like that. And then I actually had a look the other day, and you weren't in there. I'm not sure. Do you know how those rankings work?
Yeah, so I'm not sure how that works actually. That's kind of strange to me, but yeah, I noticed that the other day. I saw someone put a post up about it, and I figured because I've left Peter Boyd's gym now and I'm not a member of WA Toe Boxing anymore. I think that because I've left that gym that I was taken out of the rankings, so whatever. But I was ranked third or fourth. I know that. So yeah, it was kind of annoying. It was disappointing to see, but whatever.
I'm sure, mate, you get back into Perth, and when you have another fight, mate, you'll be back on there again.
That's it. Yeah, I'll get it sorted. So yeah. I know I'm up there amongst those guys, so it's good.
Definitely, mate. And also, you fought on a couple of other big shows in Perth, like Domination and Epic, just to name a couple. You fought some of Perth's best in your weight division, and no doubt, I'm sure there's more people that you would like to fight. Who has been your toughest fight to date so far?
Oh, toughest fight. I've been thinking about that. Shit. I'm not sure, eh? One of my toughest fights. A lot of my fights have actually turned out to be full-scale wars. So I've usually always had hard fights as well. So I think probably one of my hardest fights that was the most testing, where I really had to dig deep and go hard and get a good win, was maybe the one over Sugar, because in the second round I think he stepped in with just a quick up elbow. And it landed in the sweet spot just on my eyelid, and it closed my left eye, and so I couldn't see properly for the rest of the fight. And it was one of those things where it was like, oh shit, like I should be beating this guy, and he's my eyes closed. Fuck, I'm finding it difficult, So I turned it into an elbow war and got the win. But another good fight that was really testing that I actually lost was when I had a full scale war with Seven, a Thai. And that was on Ignition. And in the fifth round, in the very last, I think the last 30 seconds of the fight, he landed a flying knee and cracked a rib, and that was it. I was gone. I said to Alan I wanted to keep going, but Alan heard the break and he knew no. And so I wanted to keep going, but that was a really hard fight. But I was out. I haven't had a problem since with that, thank God. But yeah, that was a really hard fight with Seven, and it was a good learning experience and turning point as well, where I realised lots of things, and you learn a lot of things from your mistakes and things you've done well and done wrong in the fight. But a lot of my fights have been really hard, and so I've always had wars as well, which is kind of why I took on the nickname Warpath. Like a couple of my mates, we threw the name around just jokingly, but then it kind of stuck, because really, a lot of them always have been hard, and I'm always one of those guys who gets in there and just always has a hard fucking fight. So it's worked out like that. It's a good thing, I think it's worked out good. You learn a lot from yourself. You learn a lot from all these fights, but yeah, I'd probably say one of those two fights would be the hardest. But yeah.
I've got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say I've ever had broken ribs or cracked ribs, but I've had bruised ribs, and they really, really hurt. How long were you out for before you could start any sort of training, man? Because you wouldn't have been able to talk much, laugh, move that much. All would have hurt.
Yeah. Oh man, it was very painful. So I was in agony actually for a while. I ended up I knew for the first week and a half I hadn't sneezed yet, and then the first time. And I get a bit of hay fever as well. And the first time I had a sneeze coming, I was shitting myself. And I said to Kirsten, oh, my God, I'm going to sneeze. And Kirsten was like, it's going to be all right. I was like, no, it's not. No, I was just freaking out, man. And then I sneezed, and it was just insane. The pain was ridiculous, man. But, yeah, it was horrific. But I had to have about a month where I couldn't do anything, and then another month where I was just very light, very, very light duties, still having a bit of problems. Then about 3-4 months I was back at training, cruisy training, just still do pads, bag, all that kind of stuff. I was light clinching, and then in a clinch session it got re-aggravated, and then it was just kind of pissing me off for a while. So I knew in the best interest of my body to just chill the hell out, and so I took about 3 months where I did nothing. I trained very lightly, but I just did nothing for the most part, and I let it just completely heal. A lot of guys make the mistake of pushing it, and then re-aggravating an injury, and then it becomes something that you'll have to deal with for the rest of your life. But I think in the way I did that and the way I was smart about it and just gave myself a full time period to just chill the hell out and rest, and I just worked in the meantime and stuff like that. I think that was sweet because I haven't had a single problem since ever, which has been just a blessing. But yeah, I think that is easily the worst injury I've ever had when it comes to Muay Thai. I've had lots of cuts and I've been split open. I've had a fractured cheekbone before and shit like that. I've had my head cut open from elbows, and but I think that was that was the most painful and the most annoying as well, and debilitating. You know, it puts you out for so long and it's frustrating. Yeah. So it was painful.
Did you find did you have to sort of stop yourself from going and training and doing all sorts of things for 3 months because you get bored and you're like, maybe I'll just jab the bag or just teep the bag, and teep turns into a kick and then it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, all the time, man. Yeah, and I'm one of those people who I'm like a serial offender where it's like I'll be chilling and I'm just like, I need to train. So I'll go and train and I'm like, I feel good. So I'll start smashing it. And then I just go from 0 to 100 and then bang, that's it. And I kept doing it. And yeah, it was like you said, I was like, I'm hitting bag. I feel all right. Like, fuck, I'll do a little bit of sparring. And so you start sparring and then it's like, and yeah, and like when I started clinching again, I was like clinching with Millad all the time, who's just Millad's a beast in their clinch. And so me and Millad are clinching a lot, and it was just like playing up a bit, and I thought, just chill out. So it was frustrating, but it was definitely the smartest thing to do was just relax. But I'm one of these guys who I hate not training. I have to train. Yeah. Even if I'm sick for like a week, it's the most frustrating thing because if I'm not training, I don't feel right, so pretty annoying.
Respectfully, is there anyone in Australia you haven't fought yet that you would like to fight or that you think would make a really good fight between you and someone?
There's a whole bunch. Yeah, there's a whole bunch, yeah. I haven't had the chance to work to fight a lot of these guys because of whatever, political shit or just situations and circumstances haven't allowed for it, which has been frustrating. But there's a whole lot of them. Basically, everyone at the top of those rankings and all the top names in Australia at the moment at my weight division, I really want to fight all of them. A couple I've fought a couple of times already, which has been great. We've had good fights, but I'd love to fight them again. There's just all of them really. Like all the top guys in Australia want to fight. All the top interstate guys I want to fight. All the best names around Perth. I mean around Australia. Interstate. I really want to fight them. So obviously there's the top guys like Roy Wills, Jordan Godwinson. All these guys are killing it. I fought like Duke, stuff like that. They're doing really well. There's like all the guys overseas. All the guys in like Melbourne and Brisbane and Queensland and like all these areas. All these top names. They're really really good. And I'd love to fight him. I see some of their fights on the fight shows, and it's like, I just really want to get in there. I fought a lot of Thais and stuff like that, which has been awesome, but not a lot of local names and home names around Australia that everyone knows. So I'd love to fight them.
And I'm sure they'd love to fight you too, mate, to test their skills. And never a dull fight with you in it anyway. Now, tell us about, I know you've got a fight lined up at Lumpinee coming up in the very, very near future. Give us a rundown on that. And do you know who your opponent is or anything about that?
Yeah, so next Saturday, actually, about 6 days, I'm fighting at Lumpinee for the first time, which is like a milestone in the career. Obviously, it's awesome to be fighting there. After Max, everyone here was, really happy with the way I fought. Ponson loved it. And then we were talking about another fight, and I said I wanted to fight ASAP because we were talking about how long I had left here, and I'm only here for 3 months in total. So I go home on the 6th of December, and the turnover for Max is about 20 to 30 days, so that you're not injured and not sick and stuff like that. And there's so many guys that want to fight on Max. It's just the way it works. So you have to kind of get in line. And I was kind of like hassling him a little bit. I was like, come on, get me another fight, And I sort of, me and him were getting onto PA a little bit. And then turned out that I could get a fight at Lumpinee, and I was just mind blown straight away because Lumpinee is a massive opportunity and a milestone in any fighter's career. And then it turned out, bang, you're fighting at Lumpinee in a couple of weeks. So it was like, oh, sweet, awesome. So, yeah, I've got that coming up. That's a 5-round fight. I know I have an Algerian opponent. I don't know anything really about him. I know he's he's taller than me. I know he's bigger than me. I know he's very good. He's fought at Lumpinee a handful of times already, so he's very experienced. They said he's very good. So I welcome the challenge, and I'm just keen to get in there and see what I can do, see what I can get done.
And providing you come away all good from this fight, are you going to try and get one more in before you leave?
Oh, yeah. So I've got Lumpinee next week, and then I've got the 18th of November I'll be on Max again. And they wanted me to come back on a weekend show, which normally, like, you fight on the weekday shows and stuff and you kind of build your name up and stuff. But I think because I had a really good fight on Max and had a good knockout, that they were like, oh, sick, so they want me back on a Sunday show, which is awesome news.
Yes.
So that's epic. So for me, that was another little confirmation that I did really well. So I get to fight on a Sunday show, which is going to be awesome. I have no idea who I'll be fighting. I'll probably get some beast, which is awesome. So I get to fight on the Sunday show, 18th of November, and then we've been chatting and trying to organise either Max again before I come home, like if I'm lucky enough, just by chance if it's a KO, or by chance if you walk away with no injuries and shit, you may end up being able to squeeze another Max fight in. Otherwise, if I can't get Max, then they're going to aim for Raja or Lumpinee, which would be amazing. So hopefully I can squeeze in 4 by the time I go home.
Nice, man. They're certainly keeping you busy on your toes.
Yeah.
Now, I need to ask you a very serious question here. Do you need to cut much weight for your fights? Because, mate, I've seen the photos that you put on Facebook of your shopping trolleys in anticipation for weigh-ins and after your fights. It's nothing short of amazing. It looks like something out of a Willy Wonka chocolate factory.
Yeah, so I used to cut like 4 to 5 kilos per fight. Like, I thought that was just a regular thing, but as I've gotten older, I've realised that I'd rather cut a little bit less weight and maybe have an opponent a little bit bigger, but I feel better. I think it's just better for your organs, better for your brain, and better for your long-term health. And the more I've cut weight for fights and kind of like been halfway through a fight and felt like dog shit in the second or third round, it's done my head in that much. And I've lost fights on decisions, because I've lost the fight, but also because you're halfway through a fight and you feel like tired as hell, lethargic, and it's like, man, you train like a gun for so long and then you get into a fight and you cut weight and you feel like shit. So I started doing a lot of research, figuring a lot of things out and working out how to cut weight correctly and how to do it the right way. And I sat there and I did experiments with like weight cutting. For certain fights I experimented with weight cuts, nutrition, rehydration in certain ways and stuff like that, and tested out these theories and tested out things I was learning. So now I only cut 2 to 3 kilos at the most. Some fights I'll fight guys who are a bit bigger. Some fights I'll fight guys who are the same size or whatever. But I don't mind if the opponent's a bit bigger as long as I feel good. If I feel good and I can fight good, then I'm happy. So now I do 2 to 3 kilos at the most. I never do any more than that. And the shopping trolley is just packed with shit for after the fight, because like I'll have real clean nutrition and be real clean with my diet, and that I'm really disciplined with that until the fight's done. And then as soon as the fight's done, that's it, man. Like I'm like well known for it. Like I'll have like my training bag with me at the fight show, and I'll have like a little bag with like goodies, man. As soon as the fight is done, I'm like, my girlfriend and my parents, I'm like, oi, where's that bag? Give me it. There's like Christmas food, there's chocolates, there's Oreos, there's all sorts of shit. There's cake, there's just 10 ton of stuff, man. I'll go from there straight to like pizza and shit. Like I'm just, if I wasn't training all the time, I swear to God, I'd be a little fatty. Like I love my food, man, and I love my sweets after a weight cut and a fight.
And how long does this binge last for after a fight?
Oh, it's hectic, but normally it goes on for like probably a good 3-4 days. And by then I just feel like shit. I'll eat so much shit that it's like, because I'll be so disciplined for so long, and then I'll have the fight, and then it's like, you celebrate, and you go hard, but then I'll eat that much that I feel that shit. And I'm just like, no, I need to get back to training. So I just cut it out. So I have a good few days where I just celebrate, eat like shit, eat like an animal, and then I just cut it out. And then I've usually got like 10 ton of stuff left over as well, because I go like shopping while I'm cutting weight, which is probably the worst thing. And I'm like, I'll probably go for this after the fight, and I'll go for this, and I'll get these Oreos, and I'll get this ice cream, and I'll get this flavor ice cream as well, and I'll get that. And I just buy all these things to combine, and man, by the time it's like I've gone through half of it, I'm just like over it, you know. So, so yeah, it's disgusting. It's great, but it's disgusting. But
having the munchies at your house would be fun.
Oh yeah, man.
have you got like a favourite post weigh-in meal?
Usually after every weigh-in, I eat very clean, and I try and put in exactly what my body needs. So I rehydrate in the right way. I put in like clean carbs, not much protein, because when I cut weight, I still eat protein and fats and stuff quite well. I don't like starve myself. But I smash lots of clean carbs, lots of vegetables, sweet potato, brown rice, stuff like that. Just clean, good foods that I know is going to make me feel good after the weight cut and bring my body back. And good things that I know is going to help me fight well the next day. And so usually like I'll have like chicken with like brown rice, sweet potatoes, you know, like vegetables, stuff like that. It's usually always a very similar meal, always the same kind of thing, just good clean food. And then as soon as the fight's done, I just turn into a pig.
So I'm going to ask you then, with your last fight against at the Max Weekly show, did you go on a bit of a binge afterwards?
Oh yeah, definitely, man, yeah. And all the snacks in Thailand are awesome, man. They've got like, they're so cheap, and they've got so many different snacks to back home. So like I discovered these Oreo wafer stick things, and so I got them, and I discovered these like dewberry biscuits, which is like a flavoured jam and stuff, and I ended up buying like fucking shitloads of them, and I was just like, yeah, man, I went on a little binge. Me and Lanson fought on the same night, and so we hit the 7-Eleven after and bought like Magnum almonds and like Magnum almonds, and I ended up getting like 5 and like all sorts of food, man, like all sorts of little snacks and stuff like that, and it was really cheap as well, so it was wicked. And yeah, a good couple of days binging, but then straight back to it because I knew I had to fight again in 2-3 weeks. So, yeah.
I'm not sure if there's one in Kanchanaburi or not, but hit up a Swenson's, man. They're the best.
Oh man, Swenson's. Yeah, I know Swenson's. Yeah. I went to Swenson's in Pattaya when I was at Peshawar, and oh my God. The first night I went with Malad. Malad had like a little bit because he was being disciplined, and I just went ape shit, and I got like this map thing because I saw the menu. I was like, "What's Swenson's?" You know, I looked at the menu, and my eyes just lit up, and I was like at home, and I just ordered this insane dish, and I was eating like these wafers and these waffles with the ice creams and all that. And Swenson's is the bomb, man. I love Swenson's. I got to go to the one in Kanchanaburi after my next fight for sure.
Mate, do you know Eddie Farrell? You and him would hit it off. They love their food after weigh-ins as well, like smashing burgers. Yeah, we do, man. Yeah, I get along with Eddie, and we chat quite a lot. I chat with him online all the time. Really, we chat a bit of shit, and we just talk about the food. And I'm always seeing their stories, man, like their Instagram stories, all their binge eating they do, and it's like, it's so good. I was cutting weight for the last fight, and I was looking at Eddie and Brooke's stories, and I was just like, oh my God, I had to like swipe right. I had to get rid of it. I was like, nah, it's so good, man. They're the exact same as me. Seriously, it's awesome. Yeah, they're good. They're good people. They're good people.
Yeah, they're cool. I like it.
And how, since you've been at Sitmonchai, how has it been being away from the missus and your family and friends for so long, and how have you been coping with that?
That's been hard. Especially with Kirsten. Like, I've been with Kirsten in December. December 15th, 16th. We'll have been together for 4 years. So we've been going really well and going really strong. And basically since the day we started seeing each other, we've been inseparable. And we've only spent like more than a few days apart at a time. So me coming here was a big thing. I actually started talking to Kirsten when I was on the way home from Thailand the last time, when I left Pattaya and that with Malik and Yasin, and when I was on the way home, I started just chatting with her online, and ended up meeting her when I come home and stuff like that. And so basically from then we've been inseparable. So me, and all that time period, she knew I was training at home and loving training and fighting here in Perth and all that, but she knew that I have always wanted to go back to Thailand on and off, like, because I mean, there's nothing like coming to Thailand, you know, and training in Thailand and training Muay Thai in Thailand. It's the home of it, it's the heart of it, and it's where I feel like it's where you're going to get, for the most part, depending where you are and that, you're going to get the best training. Like you're going to get you get to live it and breathe it. You wake up in the morning, you don't have to worry about anything else. You're training. You eat, you sleep, you train. You eat, you sleep, you train. That's it. So she knew I wanted to come back, but I had never really brought it up because I was sweet. I was happy at home and things were going well. And then when I talked to her about Pine wanting me to come over, Kirsten was sweet about it. She was all good. She was on board, and she said, like, if you want to go, no worries. And she's been fully supportive of it. But it's been hard because 3 months here in total, like it's only been 6-7 weeks already, and definitely have noticed it. Like it's hard, man, because we live together as well. We've got a little dog together as well, a little Mindy. So like it's definitely hard. I'm very close to my family as well, and my friends. Like my boys are. I've only got a few very close friends, and they're my boys, and that's it. And it sucks being away from them. You know, I'm always training back home anyway, and I'm always doing PTs or whatever. I'm always training, so I'm always busy, so I can't catch up with them as much as I always wanted. But they're always there to catch up with. But then when you're here and you're a country away and you miss your brothers and you can't see them, it sucks. And I'm close to my family, my parents, so I'm really tight with my mum and dad, and so being away from them as well, not being able to see them sucks. They're like my number one supporters, and they've been there for me throughout my whole career and really helped keep my head straight through all the bullshit and throughout my whole life and stuff like that as well. So that sucks. But I know they're doing well, and I know they're all good, and they're fully supportive of it, which is awesome. But being away from Kirsten is the hardest for sure. Like, my parents are sweet. They know I'm all good, and they know I'm going to come home, and I know they're going to be there when I come home, which is fine. But being away from Kirsten sucks. Yeah, she's like my best friend as well, you know, so it's hard. She's finding it hard. I think I'm finding it probably easier than her in the way that I'm busy all the time. I'm training all the time. I'm in the routine of fighting and training, and I'm with Ponson, and I'm getting along with all these guys at the gym, and we all live together, and we're all going through the same shit. There's a lot of guys here like Hayden and Willie and stuff are always training and that, and they're always like away from their partners. Like, yeah, they've got their partners that live here in Thailand with them, but they're still got that aspect of being away from them. And there's other fighters here who are away from their families and friends and their partners as well, and so they're dealing with it. So we all kind of have been talking and helping each other get through it, which has been cool. But I think Person would be suffering a lot more because she's at home living her normal life, working, coming home, and I'm not there. You know, she's taking care of the house and our dog by herself and stuff like that. So I take my hat off to her. She's done really well. We've found it pretty hard a few times. We've had some chats and stuff like that, you know, as you do. And yeah, she's been really awesome about it though, which is so good. She's never turned around and said like, nah, like I can't do this. I want you to come home or anything like that. She's been really cool. She's just going to stick it out, and I'm going to stick it out. And she knows, and I know that it's for the best thing in my career. And it's the first time I've had to leave her and go away. So, and like the results have been amazing. Like I'm under Pine, I'm at the gym that I've always wanted to be at throughout my whole life. And it's been a little dream for me. And I'm winning my fights. I'm doing well. I'm getting better. It's not like I'm here losing fights, training like shit, you know, not doing what I should be doing and stuff like that. So it's hard, but I think we're both going to become a lot better from it and become a lot stronger from it, and our relationship with it will as well. So, yeah.
You know, you're right. And the key is, man, to keep your mind busy, because I'm a FIFO worker myself.
Yeah, exactly.
So I find like if I'm at work or I'm busy and I've got stuff to do, it's sweet. But it's when you're sitting there in the afternoons or the evenings and you're sitting in your room and it's like, fuck, what do I do? And then your mind just starts racing, and that's when you start overthinking and rethinking and thinking way too much.
Yeah, exactly. I'm 100%. I understand that. Yeah, completely. And Kirsten has a lot of friends who their partners work FIFO. So I think for her, it's good to talk to them, and they can help keep her like all good with it. And you know, and like they're kind of used to their partners being away all the time, whereas this for us is the first time. And so for Kirsten, it'll be good for her to talk to them, and they can keep her head right. And like you said, me being here, being busy all the time, keeping my mind busy between training sessions is the most important thing. Like I'm either watching Muay Thai, or I'm like watching, you know, like Netflix or something, or I'm just hanging out with the guys here and chatting shit and staying busy, or I'm like doing something, but you got to keep your mind busy. Like if you sit around and you start to dwell on things and brood on things, same with Kirsten back home, that's when it gets bad, and that's when you get sad and you get upset and you start to get down and shit. But it is hard. Like I take my hat off to the people that do work FIFA and they're away from their partners all the time, because it's challenging, you know.
Yeah, man, it is. But I suppose it's everything. It's everything. It's got its ups and its downs. Yeah,
like I mean, in the end, it's worth it, you know. Like you work FIFA to make good money, and you're doing it for the right reasons. Like I'm here in Thailand, and I'm working my ass off day in day out, training like as hard as I can, going through all this insane training and suffering through it so that I can get the win. And when your hand's raised, even when you get in the ring, it's all worth it. But when your hand is raised in victory or whatever, that's it. It's all worth it. And that's what I'm keeping my mind set on, and keeping my mindset strong on. And she's really supportive, which is so good for me as well, because she knows that, and so she's helped to keep my mind strong. Even when her mind's been down, she's really helped to keep my mind strong as well. So yeah, it's hard, but it's good, you know.
Yeah, nice, mate. Nothing like having a super supportive partner.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, mate, if people want to follow you, stay up to date with your fights and your training, or get a hold of you, how can they do that?
So I do have Facebook. My Facebook is just Ben Worsfold. I have a fight page on Facebook, like a fighter page, but I don't really use it that much. I prefer like Instagram. I think Instagram reaches out to a lot more people, and it's easier to use and a lot better. My fighter page on Facebook is just Ben Warpath Worsfold anyway. But my Instagram is tag Ben Warpath. That's my Instagram, and I post all my training and related videos and stuff to there. So basically my Facebook's my personal thing, and my Instagram's for all my training related stuff, and I post everything to do with Muay Thai on there, my training day in, day out, my pad work, my clinching, my sparring, fight videos and stuff like that, and photos from training and all that kind of shit. So basically my Instagram's flooded with, if you want to follow my fight career and follow me, what I'm doing in Thailand, then follow Ben Warpath on Instagram.
Nice one, mate. And last but not least, anyone you want to thank or give a shout out to?
Oh, man. A big shout out to, first of all, I'll mention my sponsors. My main sponsor, Benny P and Oculus Tattoo. Benny's one of my best mates. He's like my little brother, and he has taken his career to the next level with tattooing, and now he owns his own tattoo studio in Melbourne called Oculus Tattoo. And they've been sponsoring me for quite a while now. They've sponsored me for some of my fights, helped me out. They've sponsored me with my trip to Thailand. They helped me out getting here and staying here as well, funding me a bit, which has been amazing. So they're my main sponsor, and I represent them the most. So Oculus Tattoo, big thank you to everyone there, all the tattooists, all the artists. They're all really cool people, really supportive of my career as well. Always cheer me on and watch my fights when I'm fighting. All of them get together and have a good night in and watch my fights. Benny obviously is just amazing when it comes to that. He's always supported my career and my fighting career. All my brothers as well that go along with Benny, like all the boys, you know, James, Malad, Claudsy, Jordan, all of them, they know who they are. They're all awesome. They all get together and they watch my fights and cheer me on. They come to all my fights back home. They support me and watch them all, which has been amazing. They've been there since the get-go. My other sponsor, Vanguard, back home in Perth, I have a sponsor, Vanguard Strike Gear, and they sponsor me with like equipment, training equipment, gloves, stuff like that. On a side note, their bag and pad gloves are fucking awesome. So, but yeah, Vanguard Strike Gear, they've helped me out quite a lot, and they've sponsored me for a while now. My sponsor who helped me come here, Ben, one of my friends, he's a good guy. He's one of my PT clients who's become a mate, and he made this all possible. Basically, we talked about Thailand. We'd mentioned it a couple of times. He said, like, I want to maybe sponsor a Thailand trip, you know. People have said that before, so I was just like, oh, yeah, cool, you know. I didn't know how serious he was about this. Yep. Next minute, Pine's coming to Perth. He's going to do PTs at Gav's gym for a while. Fuck, I've paid for 4 PTs for you and Pine. I'm just like, oh, okay, awesome, sick. So, sweet, man. Thanks, bro. Like, that was awesome, you know. Next minute, we're doing the PTs. He's talking to Pine about some serious business. because he speaks Thai as well. He's lived in Thailand on and off his whole life. Turns out next minute I'm paying for your flights to and from and your first month at Sitmonchai. It's done. We're going. And it was just like, holy shit. All right. So this is becoming reality. So if it wasn't for Ben, that little dream wouldn't be coming true. And I wouldn't be here right now, sitting here talking to you. And I wouldn't have had these fights and I wouldn't be training under Ponson. So thanks to Ben. He's a legend. He's made all this possible. So another sponsor, my Uncle Kean helped out with the second month of training. He knew that I was going through quite a lot of shit in the last year, and he knew that I was not in a position. He knew I had the trip coming up, but he knew I'd be okay, but he knew I wouldn't be able to do the full 3 months. So he turned around and he offered to sponsor the second month, which has been amazing. He gave me enough cash to pay for the whole second month of training. So my Uncle Kean turned around and just saved my ass when it comes to that. Absolute legend. He just, out of nowhere, just came home one day and sat down next to me and he said, how much was it again? And we were chatting and then he just, bang, put all his cash on the table and I was just like, holy shit. So my Uncle Kean, thanks so much. Another one of my sponsors, another PT client actually, Clinton, has come through and he's going to help me out for the third month, and he runs Bok Logistics, which is a trucking company and an export company, and like career work and stuff. And so he's offered to come through with the third month, which obviously I'm not in the third month yet, but yeah, he's come through with that. So Bok Logistics, another sponsor, Clinton Bok, thank you very much, man. And two of these people are just PT clients that I've turned out to become friends with, which is just amazing. It trips me out really that people have been so generous in that aspect out of nowhere. These guys know me, but it's not like we've been best friends for years or anything. They're just willing to help out and sponsor a fighter and help someone achieve their dreams, which for me is just insane. It's just, I can't even put it into words, You can't say thank you enough. So it's just crazy. Obviously, my friends and family, everyone around me, all my supporters back home, everyone I've been training with on and off for the last couple of years and that, everyone's helped. You guys are all awesome. My friends and family are very tight with me and my mum and dad have been my number one supporters from the get-go. They've supported my fighting career. They've supported me when I've been a dickhead growing up. They've supported me when I've been, sorting my life out. So they're the number one supporters. They've been there for me no matter what. They've helped me out coming to Thailand as well. It's been amazing. So my mum and dad know, I can't thank them enough. I can't even put it into words, but they're awesome. They're always there for me. Kirsten has just been absolutely amazing as well. She's my best friend. And she's been there for me no matter what. And through the hard times, through the good times, when I'm cutting weight, being a moody little prick, and I'm carrying on, she's always there to help out. She keeps my head straight. When I'm going through shit, she's always there to help me out. And we live together now. We've lived together for a while now. We have a little dog together and stuff, so we've got our little family going. It's amazing, and I love Kirsty. It's great. And my friend Daniel as well. My friend Daniel has recently started coming through and really helping me out. He's been sponsoring me just with subs, just extend, just like BCAs and aminos and stuff like that. But that kind of thing just makes a massive change and a massive help throughout every training session. So I wouldn't be able to train as hard as I can here without that kind of help. So Daniel Bazan helping me out with all the supplements and stuff like that has been a massive thing. Big thank you to Daniel. He's just happily sent me through a few subs, no worries, without any questions asked, just to help out for the sake of it, just because he can. So that's a big thing as well. So I'm really thankful for that. Basically, everyone who's helped me along the way, everyone who's supported me along the way, and everyone who's cheered me on in every fight, everyone who tuned in when I was fighting in Max, I was mind blown by how many people actually gave a shit about what I was doing. It was insane how much support I had, how many messages of support and urging me on and stuff, and congratulations after the fight and stuff was cool. So you sort of realise that you do have like a base of people that support your career and care about what you're doing. So basically just a big thank you to everyone around me who's been helping me out and had my back and been there for me,
Nice one, mate. And speaking of tattoos, your mate's tattoo shop, are you going to be getting any more sakyant while you're in Kanchanaburi?
Oh yeah, I can't wait, man. As soon as I've had this fight at Lumpinee, I'm gonna get hit. I can't wait. So I got a Sakyant on my forearm. I got the tiger. Next I'm thinking about the Gal Yord. You know, I want to get my back done. I'm thinking about like all sorts. I want some more on my hand, my arm. Like I run all these ideas by Kirsten, and she was just like, "Holy shit!" And I was like, "Yeah." So yeah, I can't wait, man. I love tattoos. I love ink. And it's awesome having Sakyant as well, because it's a different kind of tattoo. You know, there's meaning to it. You believe in the blessings that it gives you, and you believe it makes you a better person and fighter, and gives you strength and character and actual, not like magical properties, but you believe that it has blessings and gives you empowerment. So those kinds of tattoo, I can't wait to get more of. I'm really going to get hit with quite a lot, and I can't wait for Benny to tattoo me some more when I get back to Melbourne, or catch up with him again as well. He's just insanely good, man, and his artists are so good, so I can't wait to get hit with more. I love ink, and that's it. So I'm definitely going to get some more.
They definitely can be quite addictive. I know firsthand.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah.
Well, mate, I thoroughly enjoyed our chat. Thanks for taking the time out to have a bit of a yarn with me, mate, and best of luck to your upcoming fights in Thailand.
Thank you. Thanks for taking the time to have a chat with me, and I really appreciate you having me on Muay Thai interviews. I'm really very thankful, so thank you.
All right, brother, have a good one. Thanks for your time.
You too, man.
I had to throw a vicious knee. I got a passion for the heart of 8 limbs. I'm just asking from the heart. So as I conclude this interview, thanks so much for sitting through. Loved all the fighters and the folks that listen. This for you.